As a mother, we're often told to give and serve. No one really talks about how reclaiming your journey through art can be an essential act of self-preservation. Hello and welcome back to my studio. My name is Rebecca Victoria and I'm a professional fine artist. Burnout in motherhood and through my chronic illness has been really challenging to juggle and manage both of them, and the thing that has really been my saving grace has been my artistic journey. The struggle really stole the joy in my art, but I didn't get that back by working harder. I got it back by intentionally choosing to create and intentionally choosing to be purposeful in the things that I create and just enjoying myself during the process. I got back to making messes and playing and just having fun and ultimately just letting go of the rules. So here is my story with that. And today I want to begin my story with asking you a question that I also ask myself. When was the last time that you created something just because it felt good? About a year ago, I had a 6-month-old son and he was at home with me full time. He has been this whole time. And I have had a really bad fibromyalgia flare up in this period. And I was really pushing myself to try to create something with my YouTube channel and try to create artwork that I could ultimately sell and make money off. But this was really beginning to burn me out. I was getting so run down. My son was not getting the best version of myself, and neither was my daughter. The house was getting into a pretty big state of messiness and uncleanness, and I wasn't enjoying things. I wasn't thriving, and I didn't understand why everything had to be so hard and had to feel so hard. And it wasn't until I really just let go and decided to do things because it was fun. I decided to make the YouTube stuff because I enjoyed it, not because I expected there to be an outcome or a financial gain from it. And the same goes with my art. I decided to really drop all of my commission work, and I dropped everything that felt like a job or a pressure, and I just played and had fun and used different materials and used different canvases, used different mediums, and I really just let go of all expectations of how things were going to turn out. This pressure to be productive and have this creative time really was looming over me. I felt like I had to be performative almost because that was what I was expecting of myself. This wasn't really coming from anybody else other than myself. And once I let go of the rules that I was imposing on myself and let go of all the pressure, things really just started to come from a much more natural, real place. And I just enjoyed myself. I wasn't doing it for anything other than pure, simple joy. And I have this beautiful collection to show for it now, which I am now in the process of figuring out my new website and how to sell, and it does feel a bit like I'm putting pressure back onto things, but at the same time I'm able to get into the studio and paint from that same place that I was painting from before, the not worried about the outcomes, not expecting anything from the artwork. So if I can cultivate even a bit of that into my time, I think that it is really, really helpful and really beneficial for my practice. I started by asking myself, what could I create for no purpose at all, basically? What could I paint that nobody would be questioning me about, nobody would be expecting me to paint, just what I felt like painting. And I'd always painted from references, so I decided to just paint without references, and flowers are really what came to mind because I really wanted to bloom within myself, and I really wanted to get to a state of springtime. I felt like I was in the winter and in the thick of the cold, hard, long days for so long that I really wanted to get to springtime in my own body. And so I used the process of painting flowers as a way to push myself to the springtime. I just created art that was just for me with no pressure and just something that I wanted to create with no real outcome in mind. I didn't know how they were going to work out, and I wasn't really too worried about how they were going to work out. And these small habits of just doing things like little by little started to weave into my day. I would sit down and draw with my daughter. I just grabbed a small sketchbook, the smallest one I could find that I liked the cover of and looked cute. And I decided that I would just sit and draw with her and not be worried about the outcomes at all. And then we just slowly, we worked that into our day, and we made that a bit of a daily practice. And then there were other small little habits, like I would draw pictures of my son while he was just laying on the couch or sleeping, just quick sketches, quick life drawings. And that was really beneficial too. And a lot of the pictures that I did draw with my daughter were flowers as well in the sketchbook, so they really felt like little studies for these paintings that I was doing. And then when I was ready to, I was able to find a little bit of energy and time to create some paintings and I just started small. I didn't start with anything too big, and I really wasn't too worried or tied to the outcomes. I just let the chips fall where they may and see what happened. And these little habits, I really came from a place of zero pressure. I was not worried about filling the sketchbook. I was not worried about how the whole sketchbook was going to look at the end. Honestly, I rarely fill a sketchbook. I usually get tired of it and buy a new one and start working in the new one. So that resistance of the pressure and feeling like things had to look a certain way being taken off really did help me to cultivate a really helpful open space. Another thing that I tried was drawing on my iPad, and I started drawing on my iPad in the evenings when we were having a bit of downtime and watching TV as a family together. I didn't want to watch some of the shows that they were watching, so I was starting to watch some TV on my phone, and that just felt really not good. So I decided that I was going to start drawing while they were watching, and that's been really helpful. And sometimes they actually sit at the table and draw while they watch too, and we kind of do it together anyway. And I think that's better for them regardless. We don't watch a lot of TV, but just those small pieces of time when they're kind of winding down at the end of the day, they're getting tired and they're too tired to play, but they're not ready for bed yet. So those kind of like transitional moments is when I found it the most useful time, because I felt like it relaxed me, which in turn relaxed the children. So I think that there were multiple layers of benefits for these practices. And I just pushed things forward a little bit at a little bit, like a tiny new development, a little bit longer, a longer stretch of painting, a longer stretch of drawing, or just like pushing my skills a bit forwards with different mediums and trying different techniques and layering things together and just trying things and seeing what happened. And just slowly but surely, I was able to get like a decent amount of working time up, and I really just gave myself permission to make ugly art that was not tied to any conclusions, was not going to be on the wall. It didn't have to be perfect, and I didn't care how it looked. So that was really, really liberating, letting go of the outcome. I really also gave myself permission to just like leave some of the house stuff as well and allow myself the time to focus on having art in my day, like leaving the dishes, leaving the laundry for a little bit, for a day longer. If it meant that I could draw for 20 minutes with my kids, I feel like that was a really beneficial thing for all of us, and it's really been helpful. It's meant that I could have creativity in my life, and if I'm being completely honest, I think that it is more important than doing the dishes. I think that I would much rather have a slightly messy house and feel more like myself and feel like I'm getting back to who I was before kids, or more or less a new version of myself with the art before and now the me after kids. I feel like there's been 3 versions. It's like the art before, the me with my kids, and then now the creative me showing my kids who I kind of was before I had them and the passions that I had. And I think that that is something really valuable for them to learn and see, but it's also just so beneficial for me in my mental health and everything surrounding those kind of things. As mothers, we're really just taught to give endlessly, and the history of being a parent is that you set everything aside for your child and that you kind of are here to serve them at this point. And I just had to give myself permission that I was still a person and that it was okay for me not to fall into that trap. It doesn't mean that I need to shrivel up that little piece of creativity that used to live in my soul and let that dry up inside. It just means that I need to figure out a way that they can coexist together. We don't need to feel stretched thin to be a good parent or a good partner. We need to feel like ourselves and feel happy, and we need to do the things that really nourish and feed our soul. And if that means not having a tidy house all the time, not always having folded laundry, then I think that it's worth it. I think that the world that we live in today, it's so fast and high paced that I think the slowing down and having a little intentional piece and showing this to my kids and modeling this for my family has been a really helpful thing. But the most important thing of this process has really just been painting without an outcome, trying to stay away from the hustle, trying not to compare myself to other people, and really just enjoying the process. Painting for joy. You deserve joy as much as any other person on this planet. And you deserve to live a creative life that feels like you, exactly as you want it to feel. And I feel like that is the exact same for myself. So we can do this together and figure it out one step at a time. That is all that I have for you today. I am sending you so much love, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Hopefully you can find some time in your day to be creative and just let go and have fun and just really be your authentic self and create from the heart. Okay, I'm sending you so much love. Bye.